Greetings from eMedi News and IGCP Group of Publications. I am Dr. K.K. Agarwal, Group Editor-in-Chief. We welcome you to this CME on surgical site infections, one of the most important concerns of surgeons in their post-operative patients. Surgical site infections are responsible for increased morbidity and mortality in surgical patients. They require additional or extended treatment and so increased cost of care, including cost of increased social care needs and lost patient productivity. Prevention is better than cure. This age-old saying perhaps is most appropriate for surgical site infections, which are mostly preventable. The alarming rise in the incidence of antibiotic resistance globally further underscores the importance of preventing these infections. This CME topic has been divided into 6 modules which comprehensively cover this subject. The learning objectives of the CME are defining and classification of surgical site infections, pathogenesis of surgical site infections, risk factors for surgical site infections, prevention of surgical site infections, antibiotic prophylaxis for surgical site infections, and proper hand hygiene. Now we would like to introduce our guest editor of this CME, Dr. A.K. Kriplani. He is a senior consultant laparoscopic and GI surgeon at Indraprastha Apollo Hospitals. He is going to speak on this topic in great length. Dr. Kriplani is a renowned laparoscopic surgeon and was the first in India to perform laparoscopic splenectomy and adrenalectomy. Enjoy this CME from Dr. Ajay Kriplani.
Greetings from eMedi News. Today we are going to have an overview about surgical site infections. Surgical site infections are an important post-operative complication. They are the second most common type of healthcare associated infections after urinary tract infections, making them more common than bloodstream infections and nosocomial pneumonia. It has been estimated that SSIs develop in 2 to 5% in patients who undergo clean extra-abdominal surgeries such as thoracic and orthopedic surgery. For patients undergoing intra-abdominal surgery, the rate is around 20%. Both surgery-related and patient-related factors contribute to the risk of surgical site infections. SSIs are a significant burden on the patients in terms of pain, suffering, mortality, and morbidity. They also place considerable financial burden on the healthcare system. They increase patient discomfort, prolong recovery, and delay discharge by increasing the length of hospital stay after the surgery. Each SSI increases patients' hospital stay by more than a week. Patients who develop surgical site infections are 60% more likely to spend time in the intensive care. A patient with a surgical site infection is 5 times more likely to be readmitted to the hospital. Surgical site infections increase mortality risk by 2 to 11-fold. About 77% of deaths in patients with SSIs are attributed directly to the SSIs. Surgical site infections are also associated with poor cosmetic outcomes, which may cause emotional distress to the patient. Before addressing the surgical site infection in depth, let us take a look at some definitions: colonization, contamination, infection, and surgical site infections. It is important to understand the distinction between these terms to deliver effective wound care. Wound contamination is the presence of bacteria on the surface of the wound, but they do not multiply. Their presence is only transient and wound healing is not delayed. Wound colonization is the presence of bacteria in the wounds that multiply but do not cause wound infections. No signs and symptoms of disease are present. Recently, a new term critical colonization has been added. This means the point at which the colonizing and multiplying microorganisms can no longer be controlled by the immune system of the body and may lead to wound infection. Wound infection is defined as the presence of multiplying bacteria that overcome the immune system of the body and cause inflammation of the tissues. Here, active signs and symptoms of the disease are present. Surgical site infections have been defined by the US Center for Disease Control as infections that occur within 30 days of the surgery if no implant is left in place, or within 1 year of the operation if an implant is left in place and affect either the incision or the deep tissue at the operation site. The CDC has defined surgical site infections as either incisional or organ space infections. Incisional surgical site infections are further classified into superficial or deep. Superficial incisional infections occur within 30 days of surgery and involve only the skin or subcutaneous tissue. Deep incisional infections occur within 30 days after the operation if no implant is left in place, or within 1 year if implant is in place. They involve deep soft tissue of the incision such as the fascia and the muscle. Organ space infections occur within 30 days after the operation if no implant is present, or within 1 year if implant is in place and the infection involves any part of the body excluding the skin incision, fascia or muscle layer that is opened or manipulated during the operative procedure. Based on degree of microbial contamination, surgical procedures can be classified into 4: clean, clean contaminated, contaminated and dirty. Clean procedures are uninfected, non-traumatic, and the respiratory, gastrointestinal or genitourinary tract is not entered. Clean contaminated procedures are those in which the respiratory, gastrointestinal or genitourinary tracts are opened under controlled conditions with minimal contamination. Contaminated procedures are those in which there is gross spillage from gastrointestinal tract, or the biliary or genitourinary tract is entered in the presence of infected bile or urine, or there is penetrating trauma less than 4 hours old. Dirty procedures are old traumatic wounds more than 4 hours old with retained, devitalized or necrotic tissue, and those that involve perforation of the respiratory, gastrointestinal, biliary or genitourinary tract. Wound infection can also be classified according to etiology, severity and time. If the wound is the main site of infection, it is called a primary infection, while a secondary infection occurs following a complication that is not directly related to the wound. A wound infection can be minor if there is discharge without cellulitis or deep tissue destruction. A major wound is associated with purulent discharge, partial or total dehiscence of the deep facial layers of the wound, or systemic illness. An early infection presents within 30 days of a surgical procedure, and a late infection presents more than 3 months after the surgery. An infection is described as intermediate if it occurs between 1 and 3 months after the surgery. The classical presentation of erythema or redness, warmth, edema and tenderness indicates infection. There may be other signs and symptoms which include serous, serosanguinous, purulent or foul smelling discharge from the incision, swelling that goes beyond the surgical site not healing as expected, and fever. Any purulent discharge from a closed surgical incision together with progressing signs of inflammation of the surrounding tissue should be considered as wound infection. To summarize, we have to differentiate between non-invasive contamination and colonization of the wound from invasive infection and surgical site infection. We also have to understand that the clean and clean contaminated surgeries are less likely to be infected, while contaminated and dirty surgeries require more aggressive approach, and we have to differentiate between superficial wound infection and deep wound infection. And next we will discuss the pathogenesis of surgical site infection.